Richard, your first ride on Dessie was a win at Kempton. What do you remember about the race?
There's a fair bit of pressure on that day, Rishi. The only other horse, Chris Popham's roller joint, Ian Lawrence, lining up at the start, making sure that there were no stupid mistakes. Unfortunately for me, he made it very, very easy. He just went his gallop. We were able to measure our fences as we liked. I felt I saw a stride that day, which makes a change. But he was brilliant. He popped from fence to fence and made it very, very easy for me.
Your first King George win on Dessie was in 1989. I'm guessing there must have been a significant weight of expectation that day. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Whatever pressure I felt there in the two-horse race at Wincanton, it was doubled, trebled for Kempton, the King George. You know, this was the big one. He'd won two. You know, the pressure really was on, and it was a top-class field. And again, I had to get him jumping, get him into that rhythm, and you know, not go too quick on him, don't burst him. But it was probably going to be taken on the races as well. So it was. I really had to get things right that day. No stupid mistakes. And fortunately, again, he made it very easy for me. He jumped on the hole very, very well. Turned into the straight. Had given himself a blow on that bottom of bend. Turned in and just took off going to the third last. Pinged the second last, absolutely at the wings. Amazing feeling there. And won very, very comfortably.
You and Dessie competed 7 times in total in that 1989-1990 season. Do you feel that your connection with Dessie went from strength to strength, or was it all there from the get-go?
I'm not saying he was an easy horse to ride, Rishi. He was keen, very keen to the start, but generally he made things very easy for his jockey by that stage. As a young horse, when Colin was riding him, he was a tearaway. He didn't, he was not an easy ride. First few times over fences even as well, and watch Colin on him. But by the time I got on him, he was a very, very decent ride. And as a jockey, I was very lucky to have got on Desert Orchid in the latter stages of his career.
When he won the Irish Grand National in the top weight, that was an outstanding, extraordinary performance. What do you think it was about Desert Orchid that made those sort of performances possible?
His guts, Rishi. He gave everything. He was probably, as a racehorse, one of the most intelligent horses I rode, and he was a real competitor. For the Irish National over 3 3/4 miles, we had to get the trip. I had to save a little bit. I was going to be taken on, which I was, in the race, early part of the race. They were going to try and force me, and I was able to get enough of a blow into him that he did get home. And I was lucky with that bad mistake at the last. I felt his stride shorten. He didn't move stride down to the last that well. And, luckily enough, his just superiority got him home.
He was beaten on his first 2 starts ahead of the season, ahead of the 1990 King George. How much pressure did you feel that day going into that race? And can you tell us your memories of that occasion?
The second King George that I rode him in, again, there was a lot of pressure. He'd been beaten quite easily, but he'd been well beaten at Sandown the race before, Tingle Creek. I hadn't ridden him in that race, as I'd been claimed by the Duke to ride one of his. Graham Bradley rode him. But David Ellsworth reassured me that, basically 2 miles an hour is too short for him. He wasn't at his peak that day. The race was to bring him on for Kempton, and David was spot on. He got to that day at Kempton, and he was as good as he'd ever been. Didn't enjoy it much through the race, again being taken on a very strong gallop with Savin du Loire. Savin du Loire was clear of us as we turned down the back straight. And fortunately for the pair of us, he toppled over, the first one down the back. And from that stage then, Desert Orchid was a lot happier. Ears were pricked, popped away the next few fences down the back. Took his customary blow after that fourth last, and turned into the straight, and again just flew, jumped very well up the straight again, and made it very, very easy for me.
Overall, you won 8 times on Desert Orchid. What would you say was your greatest victory?
The King Georges were phenomenal to partner him in front of that Christmas crowd at Kempton. But for me, his best performance, I would always look back at that racing post chase at Kempton. He was so on song that day. He was absolutely brilliant. And you just watch, if I want to cheer myself up, I just put the last 3 fences of the racing post chase on. And it was, for him, it was just poetry in motion, absolutely amazing.
And when you think of Kempton, or every time you visit the course and see the statue of Dessie, what do you think?
It's wonderful that he's remembered the way he is with that statue at Kempton. And it brings back such great memories every time I see it and go to Kempton. I always try and get back there to meet up with Brian Clifford, clerk of the course, at Christmas every year. We go out and we see have a look at the course, see the statue, and some brings back some wonderful memories. Not, as we say, not just the Christmas, the King George's, but also that racing post chase.